Hello, hello. I am JPJ. As you see, that is the franchise. And you know what that means. This is another episode of The War Report. First and foremost, I want to say it is an early Sunday morning here where I am in the States. I want to say happy Father's Day to anybody who might be tuning in or joining us this morning that is a dad. Hope you have a great day today. Happy Father's Day. Matt, I know you are a dad. So even though I don't know if they celebrate a Father's Day in Australia,
we do, just not today.
Today, well, from our side, happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
You're celebrating Father's Day in America with me today. Happy Father's Day.
I'll celebrate Father's Day every day if I'm allowed to, but
absolutely.
I'm not, so I'll take a second one. That's fine.
All right. And as you see scrolling down the bottom, we will talk about it here at the top as we usually do. Throughout the month of June, we are raising money for the Trevor Project. If you are part of the Love Wrestling community, you have heard us talk about this at length on every show, stream, anything we've been doing this month, as we will continue to do throughout the month. The link is donate.tiltify.com/@LoveWrestlingCA/Trevor Project. So please donate if you can. If you cannot, share the link, raise awareness. Yeah, all of that helps. And all of us here are very appreciative. We're over $1,000 raised, which was our first goal. Our new goal is up to 2,000, and we're hoping we can get there. So any help you can do, whether it's just sharing or raising awareness or donating yourself, thank you. If you already have donated, thank you for that as well. All right, we got some of our friends in the chat. We got Sandy saying hi from Germany, and he also says Sandy? Happy Father's Day. And then we have our boy Ed. He says, hey, brothers, happy Father's Day to either of you or the viewers who might apply.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for hopping in. You guys are always here. We appreciate you guys very, very much. Thanks for hopping in. No matter the time where you are. I know we got Sandy from Germany. Ed's from where I am. You're Australia. We got people all over the globe tuning into Love Wrestling.
Now, the other day, we kicked off with a little bit of something different. Now, since Sandy's here, I reckon he might just be a little bit happier.
Oh, yeah. That was a game and a half yesterday. That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one.
Sandy's smiling.
I bet you. In a far better mood today, I would hope. With that victory over Spain yesterday. That was a good one.
Spain, where you going? It was Portugal, man. Come on.
Was it Portugal? Wait, yeah, that's right. That's right. God almighty. Jeez. Was Spain the game after? Was Spain the Spain played yesterday.
Spain drew with Poland, yes.
Yeah, that was it. I'm sorry. But yeah, 4-2 over Portugal.
He scored again.
Yeah, well, the man. He's so good.
See, I told you Sandy's happy. He's in the
chat.
Of
course. Yeah, look at it. It's like, there it is, Well deserved. All right. Happy man. Talking about happy people, let's talk about AEW Dynamite. I thought good show. Another good show. I'm happy it was the last Friday show. I really want AEW to be back on my Wednesdays. That's just me personally.
Everyone wants that, to be fair.
Yeah, and I've seen some funny tweets, in social media, and them being like, I don't know what day it is of the week because Dynamite's not on Wednesdays, and that's kind of like, you've seen some funny rhetoric around that. But
Denise
we just got
Salcedo put that in a tweet, and
was it Denise? Yeah.
Put it on their channel.
There you go.
So
then that's what I saw. Yeah.
Even they're saying, we know it's right, but
So we got the special live Saturday episode next week, and then we should be back to our normal Wednesdays like usual. But regardless, it's crazy to think, and they were talking about it on the show that they only have a couple more weeks left in Daly's Place, and then they're back on the road, and they've been doing this weekly Dynamite for 14 months there, like same venue. And, it's one of these things that we don't talk about a lot, but like, thank God that these, we can talk about both companies, but thank God that AEW kind of figured out a way to do this, and keep us entertained as much as they did. And they had relatively a really good year under the circumstances when it comes to the product. Like the shows were still entertaining, big stuff, big debuts, all these things still happened. And it's just crazy to think about that. It's been so long. I think a lot of us have become accustomed to this is how Dynamite and NXT and WWE. This is how everything is. And we're really just a few short weeks from it being a whole lot different again. I don't know if you have anything to add on that level of things, but
you think back in the last sort of 18 months as a wrestling fan, and it seems like it's dragged on forever, but at the same time, feels like it's gone really, really quickly. Daily's Place has become synonymous with AEW, and that's, it's home for them.
Yep.
They've used it to make the proverbial raspberry jam out of pig shit. And thankfully they had it. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't exist anymore, because after 2 years, something like this really, really, really destroy you.
Oh, yeah.
But, they've made it work. It's been a bit, it was a bit shitty that people like Brody Lee never got to compete in front of
it's unfortunate.
actual fans for them. That's always going to be a heartbreaker, but, he was just happy to be there. I'm happy for people like Omega and even people like Miro. They're back in front of fans. Moxley, when he comes back, it's just going to be all systems go. Both companies, I think, are just going to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Once everything gets back to a little bit of normality. So, but they've had some really good shows. They've also had some very average shows.
But for sure,
both companies have. So. It is what it is. We roll with the punches. Thankfully, AEW Dynamite is only 2 hours. It's sort of not as bad. If you're a Raw watcher, you notice it a lot more. Thankfully, the only two shows I watch religiously are NXT and Dynamite, so they are shorter. But I'm looking forward to both.
Yeah, it should be good.
Getting back on the road, really. Because I watch WWE pay-per-views, and I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. You're going to SummerSlam, but I'm just as a fan, like WrestleMania was back in front of a crowd.
I think that
with the big custom sets, and that, to me, that's just what we want. That's where it's at. That's what gets you excited.
And I think having those crowds back regularly, weekly, and all these things like that's what's gonna. Especially when it comes to AEW, like this is we're talking AEW today. AEW, the crowd was they are as much and it's that way with a lot of mainly all wrestling shows, but AEW, the crowd was so passionate, and like AEW's crowd, I felt like added so much to the show. Because they were so new. Yeah, because they were so new, they were so passionate about AEW and just that type of wrestling that it'll be good. It might be weird at first, but it's going to be good to see these loud, raucous crowds on all platforms everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're a couple weeks away, and I am excited. I know how excited we were Mania week. Like, oh my God, there's going to be a crowd. There's going to be a crowd. Now it's like, okay, well, like there's going to be crowds like back to normal forever now. Like, hopefully, so like it's very, very exciting. But anyway,
home stretch. So fingers crossed it stays that way.
Man. Absolutely. All right, let's dive into this episode of AEW Dynamite. I'm glad they opened with it, and I'm glad I do this show with you for a lot of reasons, but specifically for this, because I know you're a big MMA guy.
Yes.
So we open with Wardlow versus Jake Hager in the MMA cage fight. Very much presented like an MMA, like the camera. They even had the camera close up on Justin Roberts. They had Aubrey wearing the black gloves and the black shirt. They had the entrances, the guy inspecting them both. It was very much presented as if you were watching a UFC or whatever mixed martial art event. Same entrances, same, everything. The match itself, which from a wrestling fan who I obviously watch MMA, I watch the big ones. If McGregor's fighting, the bigger cards that my MMA friends that are super into it are like, you should check this card out. It's going to be good. I watch, but I'm not a diehard by any means. This was clearly a worked MMA style match.
Really? What gave you that impression?
Exactly. So for me, it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was okay. I thought what they booked was fine. I thought the way it ended was fine. But for someone who's a heavy MMA fan, how did this work for you? Before we dive into actually what happened, like how did this actually work for you?
First off, As an MMA fan, it bothered me that they had Aubrey as ref.
Okay.
Because to the best of my knowledge, she knows squat about MMA. I could be wrong, but for the best of my knowledge, she knows not much. So they could have at least got someone that we don't know, and they could have pulled off that they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Also, as an MMA fan, I don't care if it's worked, real, whatever. I was fine with the Superman punch off the cage. That was fine.
Yep.
What I don't want is just them proving that it's a work thing by pushing a powerbomb and a Hurricane Rana in there.
I was going to mention the Hurricane Rana to you. I was going to mention that to you.
The powerbomb had me on the edge. The Hurricane Rana tipped me off the cliff. Just why?
Yeah.
It's a cage fight. I ain't never seen anyone go for not that type of powerbomb.
Yeah.
If they've got you in a triangle or something and you lift them off the floor and slam them like Rampage did all those years ago, different powerbomb.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even a powerbomb. It's more of a slam. This was an actual powerbomb type thing, and it was just weird. I don't know why. Yeah. But all in all, I didn't hate it. Like you didn't hate it, didn't love it. What I will applaud them on, and it's something that I need to applaud WWE on more, especially when I was watching it religiously, is it was something different.
Yeah.
At least they tried something different. It was outside the norm. Not something you'd want to see all the time, but, they tried something different. Yeah, probably just pulled it off, but the right man won. Hager, I've seen Hager's fights. He's won with the arm triangle a couple of times, so it's his signature per se. I don't really need to see Wardlow breaking out of that so easy, but he got the win with it in the end. I like that Wardlow didn't tap. Yeah, he went, the finger, and then
the finger to Jericho was a nice touch too. Yeah,
that was cool. I liked that. I liked that they teased that they were going to, mutual respect each other.
And I wanted to dive into the aftermath more. For me, I agree. Like when I saw the power bomb into the cage, and I was like, okay, that doesn't really happen. Like I get it. Like, and I thought it was the way they did it. Like they showed Hager's footage from like his real MMA fights when he was coming in. I thought that was a nice touch. There were a couple takedowns that Hager did where it looked legitimately like it was just
Hager
like a shoot
down 10 out of 10.
Of course. Yeah. Like, and he could, right?
Yeah. And they're not going to insult you that way.
Exactly. And I'm glad they did that. There were a couple takedowns where it looked like Hager they were like, no, you're going to shoot like legitimately as if you were in an MMA fight. You're going to take him down. Like it looked like Wardlow it was just, the way it was presented. I liked that part of it. I liked, the actual stuff that looked like an MMA fight in the fight.
The actual end of round one, probably the last 2 minutes of that, where Wardlow,
almost got him there.
Portrayed it as he had a puncher's chance to win this thing, and he had his chances.
Yeah,
most of that was good. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was stuff you would see in an actual cage fight, and that's cool. Do more of that. But there was other stuff in there that sort of took away from the good. So there was a blend of good, a blend of not so good. But as I said, it was something different. What wasn't different was the aftermath.
Yeah, and we'll dive into it. So Hager does get the victory. Yeah, I know. Hager does get the victory with the arm triangle there. And like Matt said earlier, Wardlow doesn't tap out. They kind of show him passing out, and right before he's passing out, he looks over at Jericho and just kind of chucks him the finger as he passes out. Ref stoppage. Then they kind of clear the ring, and both men were allowed one person in their corner. So Hager chose Jericho, and Wardlow chose Shawn Spears. So they're in the ring, they're getting up, and it did look like Hager and Wardlow were going to go over there and give a little handshake or a sign of respect, like, hey, man, good fight, which I liked. I liked that. And then all of a sudden,
the reality of it.
It does. And I liked it. I was like, oh, this will be cool. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like a friggin' bullet, Sean Spears just runs in and just takes out Hager. And then that leads to
Canadians.
Oh, yeah. And that leads to Jericho getting involved. And then it leads to a 2-on-1 a little bit with Wardlow and Spears taking out Jericho. We then see MJF. MJF runs into the cage and he puts Jericho in a reverse armbar on the bad elbow, rips off his little protective sleeve there. And he's got that cinched in. Jericho screaming, tapping, because that's in real life. I mean, obviously it's worked enough that he can do that, but in real life, he really did have an injury on that elbow the last month or so. That's why he hasn't gotten that physical. But yeah, and then that breaks off, and then we get Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara's music hits. I know it was taped, so they kind of propped up the noise a little bit, but he gets a good pop. He comes out. And then he runs off MJF, and they announce that in a couple weeks, the first Wednesday Dynamite back, MJF and Sammy are fighting one-on-one. And that, we talked about it a little bit last week, because in the promo, MJF not only addressed Jericho, but he addressed Sammy after that. That's the feud that we want. That's the give me a long form, these two young studs who are going to be the future of this company, let them go, because that's the feud I want. Let MJF denied Jericho. He said, I'm done with you, even though tonight probably will lead to something. But him and Sammy, that's the feud that I want. So I'm glad they're going that way, and they're going with it now. But in general, I think a lot of us, I think we're ready for these two teams to do other things with other people. So, yeah. I'm
glad they're not going to drag it out too long. We're going to get the individual matches, and then, so hopefully this was the last Hager Wardlow thing. Taking shots at things that probably shouldn't be, to be fair. Sasha Banks says hello. So hopefully that's the end of Hager Wardlow. So we're going to get Sammy. I wouldn't mind if Sammy and MJF continued singly.
Yes, I agree.
Because that's fresh. I don't need another MJF Jericho match. I don't need Sammy and Sean Spears. If they had a one-on-one match, whatever. But Sammy's already pinned him, so I don't really care for that. And the other match I'll talk about later. But Sammy and MJF, it's going to bang. It really is.
It really is.
The only thing that worries me is Sammy's probably going to lose.
I hope not. I hope he somehow gets the best of him, and then MJF's looking for revenge or something like that. I would prefer that, but you're probably right. I mean, MJF, I love both guys.
MJF is more protected than Moxley. Think about it.
MJF is, arguably maybe the most, besides right now.
Loss. Yeah. One singles loss.
Yeah.
One.
And it was to Cody, and then they never fought. That was it.
No, it wasn't. It was to Moxley.
Oh, that's right. He beat Cody. That's right. Yeah, for the title.
He lost to Mox when
he should have won. I think he should have won.
He should have won.
Yeah, he should have won. I think so.
He should have been champ at 24. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. All right. We then get a promo in the back with Kazarian, Eddie Kingston, and Penta. They're just hyping up the main event 6-man. Kazarian, he throws out a Bible verse about revenge, and he says, well, he doesn't always see eye to eye with the Lord. And tonight he's going to really take out the Elite because they took out Christopher Daniels, and he is on a revenge tour. Kingston says that they're going to kick their ass. Very short, simple, sweet. I thought Kazarian, he talked the most. He was the standout here. But again, typical promo, just promoting the main event tonight. I thought, it was good, but nothing spectacular there. We then get Team Taz, and Team Taz is in the back, and Taz is talking about, he looks right at Ricky Starks, and he goes, hey, man, I love you, man. I love you. He goes, but this thing between you and Brian Cage, it needs to stop. And Ricky Starks is like, oh, yeah. And then he kind of, you can tell Ricky Starks is like, no, I'm good. I don't want anything to do with that guy. But yeah, okay. No, and then he challenges Hangman. He says, yeah, you got lucky with the tag partner last week. You beat Hobbs and whatever. Everybody that beats Team Taz gets lucky. That's Taz's thing, is everybody gets lucky. And he goes, but you won't be lucky next Saturday. And he challenges Hangman to a one-on-one match against Powerhouse Hobbs. We do see a little later on, we get a backstage segment with Hangman and the Dark Order. We can talk about that now because it all kind of ties into each other. Hangman accepts the challenge from Taz. So next Saturday, which is looking like it's going to be a loaded Saturday Night Dynamite, we will have Hangman versus Powerhouse Hobbs. That should be a pretty killer match. And then Marvez brings up, this is what I like too. He brings up, he goes, oh, well, about next Saturday also, you being the number 2 ranked heavyweight, I'm sure you have very strong interest in Omega versus Jungle Boy for the title. And Hangman deflects it immediately. Doesn't even address it. He just deflects it and he starts, oh, John Silva, look at John. He's going to be back soon, his shoulder. And he's going through all the guys. And then they kind of celebrate Uno for Uno's valiant effort last week against Miro. I thought another killer hit. The Team Taz segment was good, but I mean, they kind of all are, but they're kind of all the same to an extent. But I thought that was solid. I thought the Hangman and the Dark Order knocked it out of the park like they normally do.
Yep.
What'd you think of these two things kind of leading into this match that we're going to see next Saturday now?
Taz, I don't know, was leaning into audience insulting territory by, telling us there's, there's friction in Team Taz. Like, yeah, we know, we can see it. We've seen it for weeks. Like, don't insult us. We know. But Powerhouse Hobbs versus Hangman, yes, please. Here for that.
Yes.
Hangman deflecting anything to do with Kenny is fantastic.
Yes,
as we've
real
stated
good
several times. Keep them away from each other for as long as possible. That keeps people still invested. Hangman not really caring. He agreed for the match, but he didn't really care about Hobbs because he had beer and friends, and that's all he really cared about.
Yeah.
But the Dark Order celebrating Johnny Hungy comeback and Uno's efforts from last week. The chanting of Uno was just
they lifted him up on the shoulders, and it was very good.
It's like he won.
Yeah,
they're treating him like he won.
And that's what Hangman said. Hangman was like, win or lose, you're still a champion to us, man. And they were just like, yeah, it's good. Those guys are very lovable. Very lovable characters. And it's amazing that when you think about them a year ago, obviously when Brody Lee was there, they were these evil, they were funny on BTE and things like that when you saw them that way. But on screen, they were this like evil group. They were a bad group with like this really badass, huge jerk of a leader. And then obviously what happened, and they completely flipped around, and they are like the most enjoyable, lovable guys that you see on TV every week. Even this short segment, them lifting Uno, it's just like you laugh at it. You laugh and you're like, man, I just like these guys. I just like them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
One thing AEW need to be applauded for, and they've done it a couple of times, is they change things on the fly according to whether it's good or bad or indifferent. Mm-hmm. The Nightmare Collective, they just totally scrapped that a year or so ago. That was because that was no good. When Dark Order first came in and they had the creepers and all that, everyone was like, what the hell is going on here? Mm-hmm. But over time, they've become what they are now, and they couldn't be more over or loved.
Oh, yeah.
If they tried. Granted, it's got a fair chunk to do with Brody's passing, and that will always be tied to them. But they don't make it out that that's the sole reason that they're beloved, and they don't use it as a crutch, and they don't make it so it seems weird and tacky to focus on that. But yeah, as we've stated several times, it's going to happen at some point. It's obvious, but it's going to be so good. Hangman's going to win the world title. Dark Order's going to be by his side, and the lovable losers will be still lovable, but losers no more.
Yeah, and that's going to be a moment.
Oh yeah.
We then get our handicap match. It is Darby Allin going against the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I thought this kicked so much ass.
Oh yeah.
I thought it kicks, and I'm skeptical when it comes to these type of things, but I was afraid someone was going to run in or all these things, but it was strictly 2-on-1. I thought this match, it highlighted Darby as they normally do. he's so fast. And at the beginning, he was using his speed to kind of get around him. And then they would beat him down with the numbers game. And him being who he is, never relentless, never gave up, never died, always kicked out, always getting up. And then he had, in the middle of the fight, the match, he had, his second wind or so where he gets that speed back. He's hitting coffin drops. He's reversing things into the stunner and DDTs and things like that. And then at the end, the numbers game is just too much. And the men of the year end up winning here. But I thought the way they presented Darby throughout, and then obviously Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky getting the big win that they need. I thought this was just awesome. I thought this kicked ass. I'll let you kind of talk about it, things that stuck out to you, but I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, this was so good. Everything down to the nuances, like the men of the year come out with the matching gear. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows that they're going to move forward with them. It's just fine and fantastic. Ethan Page ragdolling the absolute shit out of Darby throughout the majority of this it's just top tier elite content. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And I love that they, Excalibur especially, because he knows the history between these two.
Yes.
Plays into it. And, goes back upon, Ethan put him in a body bag and smacked him in the head with a shovel and fucking nearly killed him and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's good when they bring that up. They're not going to shy away from things happen between these two in other promotions, and I don't mind that at all. Darby, when he got his second wind, tagging himself in the corner,
amazing.
Was amazing. I thought that was great. It was simple, but it was so damn effective. He tagged himself in, deep breath, goes again, takes over the match. It's fantastic. It's such a simple spot, but so many people get it wrong. But when Ethan launched Darby into the ring post on the outside.
Oh yeah.
Darby sold it.
Oh yeah. Like went flipped all the way over, like he hit his head and
like he got hit by a truck.
Yeah, amazing.
It was so good. It was just, as I said, the little things of this match is what made this match kick so much ass.
Yeah, the zip ties.
The ending. Yeah, the zip ties and even the ending was good. Darby was, going for the coffin drop. He was in position. He was, so close. Scorpio flicks his leg out. He lands. He goes edge, throws Darby halfway across the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Men of the year get the win that they needed. Darby loses absolutely zero. Losing this. And we move forward. Where to for the men of the year after this? I got no idea. Where to for Darby? I got no idea. But I have faith in TK and the booking that they will find something for these peeps to do, and it will all go according to plan.
Yeah, and I think, in the infancy of AEW, 2 years or whatever it's been, they've earned that right because for the most part, yes, there are things that we critique and tropes that we think they're falling into, but for the most part, they have booked pretty well the whole time.
Yeah.
So even now when you're like, okay, we assume this is over now, maybe, I don't know. That's one of the tropes that they're running into is things last a tad too long. But I don't know if that changes now that we're out and we're back touring and in front of crowds. I don't know. We'll see. But they have earned the benefit of the doubt of, I'm sure they'll come up with something and it'll be entertaining because most of the stuff that they come up with is entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just get the man of the year a ton of wins, put them on the rankings and let them have matches with, FTR and LAX and the Blondes and the Bucks and
everyone.
Penta and Phoenix or Penta and Pac or whoever. I don't care. All of them.
Yep. All right. We then get what I thought was another fun mid-card match. Orange Cassidy versus Cesar Bononi. Bononi, obviously, I'm not to the level of the last one, but I'm gonna say something right here. I like the wingman. I like him.
Stop reading my notes, you prick.
I like him. So and maybe that's why I thought this match was probably better than it was in my eyes. But I like that group. It's a ragtag group. They look like they don't belong together, but it works for me.
Do you know what's funny about the wingman?
Yeah,
we spoke about Everrise on NXT and how they've found a niche with their comedic stuff. Not the greatest in the ring, but they found a niche. That's the wingman to a T.
Yeah, man.
Brian Nemeth, he's okay in the ring. Benoni, okay in the ring. Avalon, okay in the ring. JD Drake's probably the best of the lot in the ring. We've seen him have a good match against Darby, and he's done some good indie work. But as a foursome, being the wingman and trying to make people pretty and all this sort of rubbish, it fits. They've found themselves a niche, and I love it too.
So
I love it.
This match was quick. Benoni is so big. Like he's such a monster of a man. Like
what the hell happened to this black eye though?
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no. I don't know if that was maybe on one of the other shows. Maybe he just got a bad one or something like that. I don't know what that was.
I'm not sure about that.
But he was like Orange Cassidy was up to his chest. It felt like that's how much he overpowered Orange Cassidy. But it was quick. He used his power early. Anytime that Orange Cassidy fell out of the ring in the direction of the wingman, Nemeth was hitting him with spray tan. Peter Avalon was doing like the water on the hair and combing his hair. Again, I don't know. It's stupid, but it's funny as hell to me, and I love it.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, so they did that a couple times. Cassidy, who is just mega over still, gonna be for forever probably. He comes back with a little bit of assisting from the best friends. You know, they don't get involved in the match, but Chucky T and Trent start messing with the wingmen a little bit. And then he eventually Superman punches everybody. The last one being on Benoni, who literally drops, like knocked unconscious, drops arms to the side, and he gets the victory. And then what I thought was the best part of the whole thing was Peter Avalon.
Yep.
This was, I liked them before this, but when the Peter Avalon thing, that's when I came to the realization. I was like, I'm in on these guys. I like them. He grabbed,
he's holding him like
it's like a movie, like he's holding it someone dead in a movie. And he's
someone's just been shot in the street and the rain's pouring.
And he's looking up to the sky, screaming, no, crying. Oh my God. I was laughing my ass off.
And then there's Trent. He taps him on the shoulder, leans down, and then goes,
yeah, he goes like, yeah. And you could tell, like, even though they were celebrating and stuff, like Orange Cassidy, Trent, and Chucky T were looking down at it, and they were like holding back laughter because they knew in the ring, they were like, oh, that's gold. That's gold right there.
They would have got to the back and just lost.
Oh my God, it was so good. That was, the match was quick. It got Cassidy a nice win, whatever. The wingmen got, 5 or 10 minutes to like be on TV. But that Avalon thing at the end was one of the best moments of the show for me. I laughed. I was like, that is incredible.
The only thing I will say about this match, that elevated swanton spot where Chucky and Trent helped and OC jumped to the outside, it took a bit long for him to get there. The wingman sort of had to wait for him to come down. It looks a bit dumb, makes him look a bit silly, but
he did get some hype on that though. He did get some
hype. A little too much.
It was like,
assume, but it's a nitpick and it is what it is. But yeah, if you could tone that down, that'd be great. But all in all, it was just a bit of fun.
Yeah, and sometimes you can have matches like this that are like they're not meant to be too serious. Like it's like, hey, okay, this is just a match, and it can be fun. It can break down towards the end like it kind of did. You can add some humor, and those type of matches are a relief from the other serious stuff that we're watching,
And I said this years ago when AEW first started, and I'm going to double down on it now, and you'll see when the full crowds come back and they start, touring around, OC is the most over person in almost all of professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely up there. He's in the small discussion.
Hangman maybe overtakes him now, but it's close.
Yeah,
it's so close.
It's very good. All right, we then get backstage. We see Jungle Boy, and he is about to get interviewed by Marvez, and then we see in a golf cart pulling up, we get Kenny Omega, Don Callis, and Nakazawa. Omega in street clothes, not in his usual suit, and he references it in his promo. He says, hey, next week, whatever, everyone's talking to me about you, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you know what? I'm not in my suit. He goes, I'm in a T-shirt and jeans. He goes, I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you to a street fight tonight, right now. And Jungle Boy's kind of looking at him like, I'd rather just beat you next week for the title, if that's cool. And Omega's like, oh, what? He goes, what? I'm ready to fight. I'm ready. Let's go. And he goes, you know what? I'll even make it better for you. And he puts his hands behind his back and he goes, first one free. He goes, I'll never do this again. First one free on me. And Jungle Boy's like, okay. And he like starts to take off his stuff and looks like he's going to give Omega a good one. And Nakazawa attacks him from behind with the laptop, hits him in the back. That leads to Omega kind of throwing him around a little bit backstage. But then once kind of Jungle Boy gets back on his feet and starts fighting him off, you see all three of them head towards the golf cart. And poor Nakazawa. Callis gets in the driver's seat, Omega in the back. Nakazawa's about to jump on there. Plenty of time where they could have just let him get on there and leave. Omega just sacrifices him, just pushes him out to Jungle Boy. And Omega and Callis drive off. And that was that. Again, AEW with these quick, we say it every week, but they just have these quick little backstage segments that are just so effective all the time. And it meant nothing in the long run, but it was entertaining and funny. And I thought them sacrificing Nakazawa was very funny. And he's not going to, but I really want Jungle Boy to win next week. I really want him to win. You didn't like it?
I thought it was stupid.
Oh, I thought him pushing Nakazawa off the thing was funny.
That was funny, but it made Jungle Boy look like a dick.
Because he just didn't fight him?
No, because how could you not tell that Nakazawa just automatically disappears?
It's true. It's true. I mean, I was watching. I couldn't tell.
What are they portraying Jungle Boy to be a dumbass? We had the interaction last week. We didn't need them to interact this week. Kenny could have cut a promo without Jungle Boy being there.
Yeah.
To me, it was just unnecessary. Yeah, Kenny kicking Nakazawa off the golf cart was funny. And to me, the golf cart is funny in general because Kenny's wrestled at the Tokyo Dome several times, and that's how they get around at the Tokyo Dome in a bloody golf cart.
Yeah.
But yeah, unnecessary. I thought it was stupid.
Right, that's fair. Well, this next segment, which was another backstage segment, that's how I felt about this one. So we have Matt Hardy getting interviewed. I don't know where they are in the back, but they're near this huge caged-in area. No pun intended to Christian Cage.
Yeah.
But Matt Hardy and the Hardy family are getting interviewed, and Matt says that him and Christian Cage had a handshake agreement, and that Christian Cage broke that agreement, and that's why Matt Hardy's been taking him out the last couple weeks. We then see Christian Cage kind of where they are. He shows up, and he's trying to get after Hardy, and the rest of the Hardy family throw Christian Cage into this fenced-in, caged-in area, and they lock him in there. And Matt Hardy's going, hey, man, I have something to tell you. He goes, if you keep coming after me, he goes, you were retired for 7 years. For 7 years. And he writes him a check, and he goes, go home. Go be with your daughter. Go re-retire. I will fund it. Just get out of here. And Cage is like, he calls him a piece of shit. He says, let me out of here. And he goes, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. He just doesn't even acknowledge the check, anything like that. And Matt Hardy goes, all right, well, if you keep on coming for me, I'm going to retire you again. And that was it. I'll let you go, how you felt about this. I'm not opposed to the Hardy Christian Cage thing. For me, it's just like one of those things where like, just have the match already. Have the match already and move on. So I thought even though this was something different, it was a different side of what we've seen so far. I don't have a ton of interest in the Hardy Christian feud. I've seen it for years and years and years everywhere else. Like, it's cool. Like, I get it. Have the match, whatever. But this is just not doing anything for me.
Ditto.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it some personal vendetta type angle, but it's just dragging so badly. As you said, just have the match, just blow it off, get Cage the win, push on with life.
Yeah.
The Hardy family office does nothing for me as a whole.
It just seemed like
I would have preferred what they initially sort of were setting out to do, have Matt Hardy be the Michael Hayes to Private Party's Hardy Boys back in '99, and elevate them from there. Not this dressing like they're going to a bloody polo club type shit, and have Cassidy wear some sort of weird do-rag on his head every week.
Yeah,
I don't get it. And you got Butcher, the Blade, and Bunny there, but
why?
I don't know which one it is. Is it the Butcher that's missing? Where's he been?
The Butcher, the bigger guy, Andy Williams. Yeah, he's hurt. I believe he's hurt.
Oh, well, there you go. But they don't tell you that.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Don't get it.
For me, I agree with you. I thought when they first did this with Matt Hardy, and it was just Private Party and him, I liked what they were doing there. Private Party was this young up and coming team. He was the veteran. I mean, when you think of Matt Hardy, there's a lot of he's done a great job throughout his career of being a lot of different character. Like he has done a great job. He's
a chameleon.
Yeah. But when you think of Matt Hardy, I mean, one of the first thing. Oh, hello, Josh. Thank you for the raid, my friend. Appreciate it.
Oh, Josh,
thanks for doing that.
Man.
Love to see you as always. I was watching the beginning of his pick show for Chamber tonight with Mags, and they were killing it per usual over there. So
Josh's
nice to see you, my friend.
Good.
I know.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks for the raid. I was, he was. If you watch the replay, sassy Josh. My morning for me.
I'll be
sassy
listening
Josh.
to it on my commute.
Yeah, this
work
morning
tomorrow.
I liked it. I hope so.
I think I'm here for sassy Josh.
I think I'm here too. So, yeah, I liked it. I was like, and even when they started teasing him being like, oh, he's going to be a dickhead, like they're going to be good guys and he's going to be a dickhead, and then maybe that turns them into heels or they eventually break up from whatever. I liked that. And then all of a sudden they were new members and it just became this thing. And it was like, then they weren't around and now they're around. It's like, okay, well, you got to pick a direction that you want to go with these people, and then you got to go with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, when was and I know it's more recent than I'm thinking of, but like, when was the last time Private Party was in an important match? I went to the second ever Dynamite. It was in Boston, and they beat the Young Bucks in that first round of that tag team tournament.
They've gone backwards since then.
Yeah, the place unglued, and they were presented as like, hey, you guys might not know who these guys are, but they're going to be a top tag team for us. Like, that's how they were presented right from the jump, beat the Young Bucks that early. And then ever since, like you said, it's been backwards. And it's like, okay, well, now they're just like henchmen. They're just lackeys, really. They don't wrestle, at least on Dynamite, they don't wrestle a ton. And anytime you see the Hardy family, it's only Matt Hardy that talks. It's not anybody else. I just don't know what this group is doing for the rest of the people in the group.
Not much.
So that's what I'm trying to comprehend going forward is like, okay, like I get it. Matt Hardy, central figure of wrestling. Like, cool. He should have a pretty important part on the show. That's fine. What is it doing for Butcher, Blade, and Bunny and Private Party being with them? Because it's doing nothing in my eyes. Absolutely nothing. So you got to start doing something. Otherwise, we're not going to give a shit about any of them. And then if you have, I don't know.
When Private Party first came on the scene and they were beating the Bucks and stuff like that, crowd would come unglued for, Silly String and Gin and Juice and all that sort of stuff. The crowd loved it. Now they couldn't care whether they're on the show or not. Teams like the Varsity Blondes have just blown past them and all that sort of stuff. And yes, Josh, I am, and so is JPJ. We are well.
Absolutely,
thank you very
man.
much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, just right now, nothing. Look, I don't know if locking Christian Cage in a cage means we're going to get a cage match. I don't know, but do something and do it quick because I'm losing interest.
Yeah. All right. We then get the debut of Brock Anderson teaming up with Cody versus QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. I will let you take the lead on this one. What did you think of young Brock's debut and everything that this match was, which wasn't much in my opinion, but
as someone who is not of age to have seen Arn in his prime, I can only assume this was Arn in his prime.
He looked like him. He had the same trunks, same And that's what they're going for, right? Like that's definitely
which is fine. Yeah. He idolizes his father. That's cool. I'm fine with that. That's fine. And he looks solid. Some of the stuff he did was fine. They kept it simple, which I always think is a good thing. And he's in the ring with Cody and QT. Like he's got good guidance.
And I was just
going to
say, I was like, the other three guys were specifically there to make Brock look like someone who mattered. You know what I mean?
But even Solo's still relatively fresh, but he's a veteran freshman, if you get what I mean. Yeah. QT and Cody must have stood on either end of their in their respective corners and just thought, what we're doing here is pretty amazing. Like the guys we are training and what they're able to achieve is just absolutely phenomenal. And that's what's going to propel this company forward. So in that respect, matches like this work.
Yes.
What I don't like is the factory losing again.
Yeah.
Why am I supposed to continue to care about this group? Give me a reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, obviously it's the kid's debut, right? It's Brock's debut. You ideally don't want somebody to lose their debut, but I thought this was a perfect opportunity for the factory to maybe one-up Cody and one-up the kid, the young guy, and get a quick victory, and then maybe the story goes from, okay, yeah, like we need Cody and Arn coaching up Brock to get his revenge, whatever, however you want to do it.
QT could have got the win with the trunks and continued his, I did it all by myself rubbish.
Yeah, anything. And it's just,
if you're worried about taking away from Brock's debut, simply do not book the match. Yeah. Don't put yourself in the position where they have to win again and the factory lose again. Mm-hmm. Just don't put yourself in that position. But the match was nothing to me. It was what it was. It was just Cody going through the motions and, getting another match out of the way so he could go and be a father, which is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brock's roll-up was actually nice and tight and snug. That was cool.
Yeah, he actually had a really good it looked like QT was going to try to give him a crossroads, and he reversed it into a DDT, which was that was a smooth-looking move, too. That was a good-looking move, too. Well, you saw Cody.
So was QT's Spinebuster on Brock. That was actually really good.
Very good. And we also saw, Cody pull out, a flying head scissor. Out of nowhere. It just seems like, all right,
that was
cool.
Random.
Yeah, that was random. But, yeah, we saw Cody pull that. They did the nice moment at the end after Brock won, where him and Arn hugged in the ring and kind of celebrated. That was a nice little moment there. But like I agree with you, and like we said, you had an idea Brock was going to get, they were going to win his debut there, but the match really, there wasn't much to it. It was just a little, it was just there. We then get a promo with Lance Archer and Jake Roberts. Jake Roberts is saying Archer's just pacing, losing his mind in the background per usual. And Roberts is saying that he had to reconnect with Archer because the man has no patience. And Jake had to tell him sometimes in life, you got to wait. You got to wait for the thing to happen. And
to be fair to Lance Archer, he's been waiting a long
yes.
time.
Yes. We have talked about this plenty on here about the booking of Mr. Archer. But he says Archer's really impatient. He doesn't like waiting around. So Jake's been trying to reconnect with him and reestablish that sometimes you got to lie next to the tiger and pounce instead of just going full on. And Archer did not like that. He let out a guttural scream and just walked off screen. And Jake was like, oh, and then that was it.
Jake's saying, I can't keep, what do you want me to do? Bitch slap him and get him to
Yes, that was good
realize?
too. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Bitch slap him and get him to, no, not going to happen because he will murder you. He will murder me.
Lost.
Yeah.
It really is a fitting nickname, the Murder Hawk Monster.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It fits him perfectly. And like we've said on here, we're big fans of the guy.
Yes.
But every time he's had an important match, he has not won that match. So you can keep resetting him as much as you want. This is another reset, it seems. Fine. Let the guy win something, please.
I'm getting to the point where I actually want him to go back to Japan.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't watch New Japan as regularly as you do, and I know he had a good run over there too.
Oh yeah, good tag team run with Davey, and that was fine. But yeah, he was an IWGP US heavyweight champ too. He had good matches with Mox over there, but he's a big guy, and the stronger style, the more snug styles fits him better over there. But he fits in AEW. They just stop making him lose important matches, because it's, as we've said with others like Zoe Stark on NXT, the more they lose, the more people are going to stop caring. Like the Factory, they're losing. I'm stopping to care.
Yep. We're going to talk about this type of thing, I think, at the end of this show too, for me at least a little bit. But yeah, we then get the sit down with good old JR and Andrade El Idolo. JR asks him why he chose AEW. And Idolo says, many reasons. There's a lot of talent and many stars, but he's a superstar, which I liked, because what do they call their wrestlers in WWE? Superstars. Get it? Good. JR talks about the world title and the TNT title. He says, we have two really new but established belts. I assume these are on your radar. And Andrade says, those are his next goal. He says that he deserves, not that he wants to earn, but that he deserves an opportunity for the TNT title and the AEW world title, and that's his next step. JR then dives in and talks about Vicky Guerrero. He says, you obviously showed up with Vicky Guerrero. Andrade says that she's very smart. She understands the business. He says that he's a third-generation superstar. She came up with Eddie Guerrero, obviously. She knows the Guerrero family, who has a ton of wrestlers in it, much like his family. So they automatically had a great connection. And then he said, but JR, everyone's going to have to wait, because Vicky and I have a big surprise. And that's how this kind of ended. What'd you think of this segment? I thought for the, and this was a little bit more long form from Andrade, so you could see the issues with English a little bit. I personally didn't think they needed the subtitles, but whatever. No. I mean, to each their own. It's been done before. It's not like I was upset about it, but the answers were a little bit more long form that we hear from Andrade, but I thought he held his own. I understood everything he said. I thought he made great points. I thought he looked like $1 million in the suit, and he looks like a superstar, like he said. I thought this was solid and good. What about you?
Smartest thing you can do is put something like this on a taped show, because I guarantee you this wasn't done in one take.
Yeah.
But yes, you could tell his English sort of struggled, and that's potentially why he defaulted to Portuguese or Spanish or whatever he speaks. Part of the way through it, I don't think the subtitles were needed. I thought they might have been a little bit stereotypical, but again, it didn't insult me. But I'm not the target, or I'm not of that heritage where I could be offended. Hopefully it didn't offend anyone. But yeah, I thought it was fine. Little subtle, sort of pokes were good. The fact that he is straight out of the gate saying, I want the TNT title, I want the AEW world title, all well and good. I thought they might have touched on the fact that he's already got a match scheduled with the world champion.
Yeah.
Over in Mexico, but they didn't. So maybe a missed opportunity there. You could say, I'm going to beat him for one title, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat him for another. They could have gone that route maybe, but all in all, it was solid. It wasn't world beating by any stretch, but it wasn't poor. Yeah. So it got him on TV, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. We then have Penelope Ford going one-on-one with Julia Hart, who were accompanied by the Varsity Blondes. I thought, this was what it was. I mean, I'm glad that they gave two women that we don't see every week time on the show. They got a whole commercial break. This was a decently length match. I thought there were parts of it that was good. But you could tell, I think Julia Hart's 19 or something like that. She's really
18
young.
or 19, yeah.
Yeah, she's super young. It was a little sloppy at times for me. You could tell some of the transitions, they were really like calculating it, and they were a little slow paced a little bit. But all in all, I thought Penelope Ford has been there for a bit. I was glad to see her get a win on television because she's someone that can be used more, especially if Kip's going to be out for months and months and months.
Yep.
You can use her in the women's division. Like she can, for the most part, the matches we've seen her in, she's pretty good. Like she's pretty good. So like, just let her.
Her and Shada all those months back.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that was
match.
So like she can go. Like why
Mm-hmm.
not? Why not just present more women as threats as they go?
Yep.
You know, Britt Baker's going to need challengers. And
We'll
I thought
get to her.
Hart. Yeah, and I thought for me seeing Hart for the first time, I thought she was fine. Like I said, there was some sloppiness. You can tell she's young and she has like a couple of her clotheslines need to be a little tougher. They look like they were not, the greatest. But other than that, this was okay for me. I'll let you kind of talk about it, but I thought this was okay. The aftermath, which we'll get into after you talk about the match, I liked better. But yeah, go ahead.
I adore the Julia Hart and Varsity Blondes teaming. I think it fits. It's perfection. I speak about this every week, whether it's on NXT or here. Dark and Elevation are shows built for people like Julia Hart.
Yeah.
Some people just need those reps, and that's where she will get them. The Varsity Blondes do a lot of work on Dark and Elevation too, mainly because Pillman Jr. is not signed yet. But she, 18 or 19, she's only going to get better. She's only going to, she's going to be a fixture of their women's division for a long time.
Oh yeah.
She's got 20 years in her still.
I mean,
if she wants to go that route. Whether she stays in AEW that whole time or moves, who knows? But she's young. She's got she's an attractive woman. She's marketable. She's going to get better. And I think the pairing of the three of them is a very marketable pairing, and that's only going to be good. The match itself, it was good to see Penelope back. Yeah, it was a bit rough in spots, but Penelope has this mean streak about her that you just don't expect from someone that looks like her, to stereotype her a little bit.
Yeah.
She comes out, she just looks like this sort of model-esque woman, and then she just flips a switch and tries to kick your teeth down your throat, and you're like, oh shit, hold on a minute. Parts of the match were good, parts of the match not so good, but all in all, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's another match that I think benefited from being on a taped show. And then it happened, I guess.
Yeah, so the way that the match ended was Penelope Ford hit an Indian Deathlock, which looked good on Julia Hart. Julia Hart didn't tap out right away. She fought for a little bit, but then she eventually tapped out, and Penelope just simply didn't let go.
No.
She kept it on, which the Varsity Blondes who were ringside got in the ring. They didn't physically touch Penelope or anything like that, but they got in the ring and they were basically like, yo, get off her, like, get out of here, which Penelope finally let go and went to the corner. And then all of a sudden we hear Miro. And Miro comes out, and the first thing he says is, where's Kip? He's just asking, where's Kip?
He's such a stalker.
Yeah. Where's Kip? And then he goes, either way. He goes, this is not fair. He's like, 3-on-1. Penelope, you're outnumbered. And he walks towards the ring, and he gets in the ring, and he just takes out Griff Garrison, throws him out of the ring, and then he turns around, and you see Brian Pillman Jr., flying Brian Pillman Jr., apparently just
literally
springboard. I don't even know what it was, a cross. I don't even know. But he springboards right at Miro, takes him out. They start brawling. Refs come, break it up. Miro breaks through the refs, and they just continue to brawl. And it transitions into the next thing that we'll talk about in a second. But they did announce later on in the match that we are going to get Brian Pillman Jr. versus Miro at the not Saturday one, but the first Wednesday back in 2 weeks. And I believe they said, is it for the title? Is it for the TNT title as well? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm all for that. Yeah, put Pillman in there. Give him a shot. Why not? You know he's going to lose. Miro's going to end up killing him. But that's a title opportunity for a guy that they are trying to sign that they probably have high hopes for, so I'm all
Oh, no,
for that.
they will sign him.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
going
gonna-
to. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a matter of if.
Yeah.
When,
So,
not if.
but yeah, no, I thought it was cool. I think like we've been talking about, Miro's just anything he does right now is gold. And
He's next level right now.
he is 100% next level. And I like that he's working with guys like Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
That's just cool that they're like, you know what? I have a history with Kip. Like I got nothing really major happening. Like, let me just go mess with these two young guys and I'll end up fighting one of them, maybe both of them. And yeah, I'll give them a little bit of rub. I'll kill
either
them.
of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No, I think Pillman and Garrison have got tremendous upside.
I like them
as
a
a
lot.
team or a trio with Julia or even singly. Griff Garrison's a good size. He's going to get a little bit bigger. He's going to fill out a bit more. And I think he's really marketable too, like Jungle Boy with the long hair and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm all for Pillman getting a shot at Miro. Obviously, he's not going to win. That 2 reasons. Miro's going to kill him. And the other reason being he's not signed. They're not going to give a title to an unsigned talent. He will sign eventually once his contract with MLW runs out and he ain't going back there. But yeah, Miro's just so psychotic at the moment, but in such a good way. He comes out and you can just tell he's like, yeah, I took your husband out, but I want to look out for you. Like, what? Who does that? It's some weird, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know what to call it, but it's psychotic behavior. It's just, but it's so Miro. It's so good.
Yeah.
He just wants to fight. He just wants to hurt people.
And I think and it's just awesome because you know he's gonna. Like you're just
but
like,
that's the good
Miro's
thing about
kill this
Miro.
guy.
People know he's a savage, but because he's the TNT champion, they're like, all right, I'll fight him for the title, I guess.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't champion, you'd be like, why would you have to fight this guy? That's stupidity.
Yeah, he's just gonna murder.
Because he's the champion, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I might win the title if I'm lucky. No, you're gonna die.
It's true. I mean, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
oh man,
so,
it's true.
But
just
yeah, the
terrific
match.
stuff.
I don't know. It's probably going to be a semi-squash, and you know what? Cool.
Yeah, exactly. All for it.
Absolutely.
We then get backstage. We have Britt Baker and Reba with Tony Schiavone. They get interrupted immediately by Vicky Guerrero. Mm-hmm. Vicky says that she wants that title around her client Nyla Rose's waist, to which Britt Baker laughs in her face and says, hey, yeah, okay, what do you want me to just give it to her? Like, we're not playing old maid here. So why don't you run along? And then Vicky says, hey, I brought Andrade El Idolo to AEW, so Tony Khan owes me a favor. And by him approving it, we're going to have a match. And it's going to be a tag match. It's going to be Britt Baker and Reba against Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. What do you think of this? What do you think about this tag? Oh, and then Britt and Reba, Vicky leaves, and Britt and Reba look at each other, and for a split second, they have like a concerned look on their face, and then they start laughing hysterically and just leave. And they go, yeah, we're done here. And they just leave laughing like, who cares? Like, this is not a big deal. What do you think about this segment? What do you think about that tag match we're going to get? They didn't announce when yet, did they? Did they announce it later? I don't know.
2 weeks. The
Wednesday. Yeah, the Wednesday one. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. I guess. Yeah. I would rather them just have the title match that Wednesday and then Britt move on. That's what I would like. But yeah.
Vicky stated that Tony owes her a match and she picks a tag match.
Yeah. Why wouldn't she pick a
Yeah.
If he owes you a match, realistically, that means you could be like, all right, well, you owe me a match, so I want Andrade to fight for the AEW World Title. Or I want Nyla Rose to just fight Britt Baker for the women's title. Like, that's the match. Like, why would she pick the tag match? Why would she get herself involved? Why would she? I don't know. I'll let you go if you want. But I have nothing more to say. This was what, look, I like Britt Baker a lot. I want to see Britt Baker, but like, I'm not huge on the Nyla Rose thing to begin with. Been there, done that with her as like potential champ. But I get it. Gatekeeper. She's the only one that has a pinfall victory over Britt. So like that match is probably going to be a really good one. I'm all for it. But like, why do we have to do it more than one? Like, why can't we just It happened. They had their face off. Let's just fight. Why do we have to add more people, add different matches? It's just too much for me.
My T-shirt says "Danger, Grumpy Old Man."
Is that what I sound like?
No, that's what I'm about to sound like. What the fuck is this?
I don't know.
Britt won the title, and it was supposed to be this new era about for the women's fucking title and this and that, the other. I'm sorry, Spencer. I'm going to swear a lot here. This is garbage. And they're portraying it around McDonald's burgers.
Yeah.
Not once have I heard them mention that Nyla beat Britt in that tournament. Yep. What the actual fuck are they doing here?
I don't know. It seems that they're trying to me, it seems like they're trying to be funny or cute about it with Britt. Like Britt's trying to just be this. She's a badass. We all know she is, but she's also like,
put her in the ring so she can prove that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her wrestle once since she won the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very bizarre.
This isn't it.
Yeah. It's very bizarre. And, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're waiting for live. I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for fans. And then that, everything's going to kind of. But yeah, it seems like she won the title. They had that big moment, and it has been not good. Like the celebration was a miss for me. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they were like, oh, we have this great story leading up to her winning the title, and then we don't have anything.
That's WWE booking.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and see how it looks a month from now, maybe. But it's not. Yeah, ever since she won the title, there hasn't been much that has gotten me as excited about Britt Baker as I was on the chase to the title. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah.
Last week's promo was respectable.
Yep.
The celebration was absolute trash.
It was not good.
This was close.
I have no interest in seeing Vicky Guerrero. And this is not a knock on her because she's good at what she does. I have no interest in seeing her in a wrestling match.
She's Guerrero by name, not Guerrero by nature in ring.
Yeah, like I have no interest in seeing her in a wrestling match. Reba, who is excellent as Britt's sidekick, I also don't have any interest in seeing her in an actual match either.
She can wrestle.
She can though. She can. But I don't have the tag match just doesn't interest me. Just have the title match. Have the match with Britt.
I can already tell that Reba's taking the fall from Nyla.
Most likely.
And then Britt's going to defeat Nyla. Why don't we just cut the middleman out and have Britt defeat Nyla for the title, and everyone can move on?
Yeah, Nyla
this program just ain't it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We'll kind of leave it there because I agree. All right, we then get a vignette for FTR and Santana and Ortiz. I thought the vignette itself was very well done. Very well done. I liked how they both respectively were calling themselves the best tag team in the world on the planet. Then they start diving into heavy stuff. Cash starts talking about growing up poor and stuff like that. And Santana was like, hey, Carolina boys, I'm not saying you didn't have it hard, but Carolina ain't New York. Mm-hmm. And he starts talking about how he watched his mom get abused all the time. It got a little heavy. And he was talking about, and he was saying that he watched his mom get abused all the time and that he went to the streets and he was robbing and stealing and doing all these things, and working for a company like AEW was never even on the radar for him. And then Dax says that, in 6 months, FTR has done more than Santana and Ortiz have done in the whole 2 years that they've been in AEW. He says they lost their edge. And then Santana says, yeah, you guys might have been tag champs. Okay. He goes, but we've been carrying this company for the last 2 years. So guys like you would have options.
I loved that.
I did too. I did too.
Adored that.
Yep. I was like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. And then Ortiz kind of ends it up and he says, hey, win or lose, you're going to be scarred. We're going to scar you forever. And then that was kind of it. I thought the vignette itself was excellent. I, like you, loved the Santana line about options. Loved it. Because it's true to an extent. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just true.
yeah. And I love that. Yeah. I mean, look at these are two of the best tag teams in the world, period. And we haven't seen them fight just in a tag team match yet. So this is a match that I am excited to watch.
Yep.
But once this ends, it's over. It needs to be over. That's it.
Yeah.
Pick who's going to win. Either team I'm okay with. I like them both. But once it's over, no rematch, no other shit. It's done. That's done. That's it. But yeah, this is, you know, we talked about earlier and the last couple of weeks how much we were done with the Pinnacle Inner Circle stuff. But the MJF Sammy, I throw this tag match in there. Like, this is a match I want to see because we haven't seen it yet. However, when it comes to Sammy and MJF, I would like that to prolong. Like, you can keep that going for a bit, and I'd be okay with it. This one, like I've been saying, like, just have the match, and then it's over.
This was the other match that I mentioned earlier that we talk about later. I'm a fan of tag team wrestling to an extent. Okay. I'm not, you know, it doesn't define me as a fan, but I do enjoy a really good tag match. And I think these two will put on a really, really good tag match.
Oh, yeah.
They are both, as you said, two of the best tag teams in the world. You know, that it's a subjectable debate, but if you put forward top 5 lists, inevitably these two will turn up on a lot of them.
Yep.
The inevitable match between these two is going to be so damn good.
Yep.
Like, LAX I still call them LAX. Let's just have it. They work with everybody work well with everyone as FTR do. So together, I hope we get fire. I just hope it doesn't fall flat, which can sometimes happen with teams that are so good. The chemistry just sort of doesn't click. But FTR has clicked with everyone else they've worked with so far, so I wouldn't see this to be any different, to be honest. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Excuse me.
It's all right. I agree. Yeah, no, this should be one hell of a tag match with these 4 guys in there.
Yeah, LAX is probably the only team or the only part of Inner Circle breaking up, other than Sammy doing his own thing. I would have been fully 100% on board with.
Oh yeah. Then I think LAX, if they should still be. I'll let you go. Sorry. You go.
Yeah. I want to see LAX form their own group. Like, you've got Diamante floating around doing not a lot. And she was with them in Impact, and that was super, super good. You could, you know, if Kingston's not doing nothing, or if Mox is going to be out for a period, you could throw him in there with them, like a Conan type role.
Yep.
Who can wrestle, but, you know, to prolong his career, he could do a lot of managerial talking stuff. And, you know, that could be cool. There's so much they could work with here. You know, Sammy's Latino, they could bring him in periodically if they wanted to do that. But yeah, I think they need to do their own thing. But yeah, this tag match is going to rule.
Oh yeah, big time. All right, we then get Smart Mark Sterling and Jade. I love the name. I love it. And Jade Cargill. They announced a partnership with a hotel. The Toronto Four Seasons has joined the squad, and as Jade Cargill.
Toronto Four Seasons, did you say?
Oh wait, was it not? Was it the Four Seasons of Toronto? Right?
I didn't pay that much attention, to be honest.
Oh yeah. So it was the Toronto Four Seasons that joined the team.
Damn Canadians. Taking over the joint.
I know, yeah. And Jade Cargill goes, yeah, perfect for my opponents to go to sleep after I knock them out. Yeah. Mark Sterling says that they're accepting all brands, to which Jade interrupts and says, not all brands, only the elite ones. She says that she's a walking billboard and that all companies should be begging to work with her. They even said that, and they go, hey, for anybody that wants to join the team, we even have a great discount code out there. And he points at Cargill, and Cargill goes, yeah, that bitch. And he goes, that bitch, it rolls right off the tongue. Oh, man.
So good.
Yeah, it's very good. And then Mark Sterling gets a little serious and he goes, but we're really focused on wrestling here. She's undefeated. He promotes Dynamite, Elevation, Dark, promotes the new Rampage show, and says that she'll be on all the shows continuing to be undefeated because she is, and then points to Jade, that bitch. This one was a longer one. They're usually shorter for Cargill. This one was a longer one, but Mark Sterling is hilarious. This is working for me with these two so far. It's real early. This is working for me. I thought another good segment from these two here. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add or not, but I thought it funny to the point,
It was standard fare with a little bit of extra with the promo code stuff and all that sort of jazz. But yeah, she's still money.
Yeah,
still money.
100%. And every time you see her, you're like, man, like she stands out. She stands out to when you look at the rest of the women on the roster and her, she clearly stands out. Clearly.
And you know what? Thinking back now in hindsight, if you were thinking about who they were going to put as her manager, whoever came up with it was TK or Cody or whoever made the decision, hey, Smart Mark Sterling was really good as MJF's lawyer. Maybe he should be an option. Whoever thought of that is a genius.
Yeah, they need a raise.
This, for me, works real good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very intrigued to see how this grows and the more they do with them, because so far the small glimpses we've seen, it works, because you're starting to see like Sterling's funny and like kind of a humor guy, and you're starting to see him pull a little humor out of Cargo, really. Like tonight she was a little funny, or tonight on Friday Dynamite she was a little funny, and I think that's a good little twist of character too, because like we know look at her. We know she's a monster. She's a badass from what we've seen in the ring. Like she's a powerhouse, but when you add a little more personality too, that's just going to make us attract to you more, But
Smart Mark has definitely found that balance between humor and serious.
100%.
He's finding that niche, or he's found that niche, and that's what works well. But yeah, she's going to continue to rack up wins, and yeah, she's probably going to challenge Britt sooner rather than later.
I would think so. All right, we have then to our main event, and it is Penta, Eddie Kingston, and Kazarian against Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers. I will let you start this one off, man. What'd you think of this main event? Just go ahead. Let me know what you thought about the match, the result, all that.
The match was good. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really solid, good back and forth action. This was how the Good Brothers should always be used. They're a good tag team. Luke Gallows can be a bit wanky at times, but all in all, in a tag team, especially with KA, he's really good. And Matt Jackson, we know what he can do in tag team wrestling. Frankie coming out with the new music, and he's got the old Impact or TNA moniker, the Heavy Metal Rebel with the Elite Hunter type stuff. For me, that is just awesome. I love all of that. Frankie's going to excel in this role, and I could not be happier. Penta coming out with Alex Abrahantes as a face.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's just... Yeah, I don't know if they're going to put him with
Pence's become the ultimate tweener. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, he does get, when there are crowds there, he gets a good pop. People, they do the quote with them. They do his little phrase with them. He gets a good pop regardless of where he lies on the heel face spectrum there. So maybe they were just like, Ray Phoenix is out. I don't know where Pac is, if he's out too or whatever, doing other things. We're going to put him with Eddie because him and Eddie have that story of they used to be best friends. Maybe Mox is out, so maybe he will be a face for a little bit. I don't know where Abramontes fits into that, though. That's my only thing.
Stupid question.
Yeah.
Are Kingston and Penta actually really friends?
I don't know. Probably not. They were on screen, though. They were on screen. So maybe they're going that route.
Running with it.
I know.
Yeah, Kingston, he is over big time. Crowd loves him. I love him. Kingston's great.
Yeah.
Kingston's great. Just he's on as soon as he comes out. You know, he feigns to punch on with the cameraman, and then he's all business. I thought it was great that he came out with the DMX singlet on.
Oh yeah, great.
That was a good touch. It was, you know, subtle, but it was good. But yeah, super fun match, man. Really good TV main event.
Yep.
Which is, you know, par for the course with Dynamite. They normally open with a good one, and they normally finish on a high too.
Yep.
People probably don't like the another distraction type of finish on the show, but I personally have no problems with heels winning in such way.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I have no problem with heels winning in cheap ways. Right? They're heels. There's, you know, a lot of them are supposed to. I would have liked to have seen the good guys get a win here. I understand why they're the elite. We don't see the Good Brothers fighting on Dynamite that much, like that often. So like, I get it. I'm not upset by it. I would have liked to have seen like Kazarian get a win, you know, like I know he's going to be the elite hunter, and that's a great gimmick. I'm all on board with what you said earlier. Like, I love that gimmick and I love him for that gimmick. But if he's going to wrestle, I feel like maybe he could have got one up on the elite and beat them, like somehow got a victory tonight. That way, no, it's not so one-sided. It's not so like, hey, I hate you guys because you did this to my friend. Now they have a reason to hate him back. Obviously, as he takes them out, as I'm assuming this will continue, they're going to gain reasons to not like the guy. But I think a victory for him might have been good here. However, like you said, the elite winning and the way they did with Nick Jackson kind of coming out of nowhere and doing the cold spray in Penta's eyes, causing, and I like how Carl Anderson got the win too, because Carl Anderson is a stud. I'm all cool with that. Like I think that, you know, that's a perfect way for them to win. Their shitty heels. Like, I get it, all for that. I think I just would have preferred Kazarian getting a win, like getting the pin here. But either way, it's not going to affect anything in the long run. Like, it's not anything I'm going to harp on too much. That's just a personal preference. But when it broke down towards the end, I thought it was awesome. I thought Matt Jackson taking all the finishers was cool. And then Carl Anderson diving in at the last, Gallows diving in the last moment and saving the pinfall there, and then leading to the Nick Jackson thing for the win. But I agree, like, they do these multi-man matches, they do these main events, and they're always killer. They always open with a fun match to start the show. And like you said, the main event is the main event. It's usually, a lot of the times, the best match of the night. It's a barn burner. AEW, the format that they do for Dynamite it just works, man. And I feel like even the average episodes, they're not painful to get through. They're nice and easy. It's, you know what you're getting. The setup is the same, you know.
This didn't feel like 2-hour show to me.
No, I know. I thought this was a good one. It went by quick for me too. I felt like it went by quick.
Before I knew it, they're like, "Oh, main event's up next," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Again, though, another solid edition of AEW Dynamite. We have what they're talking, the big one next Saturday.
Yeah.
Multiple big matches, but obviously the main event, Kenny Omega defending the heavyweight title against Jungle Boy, which should be amazing. Amazing.
I was seriously worried when they were doing Friday and Saturday Night Dynamite that they were going to limp to the finish line of getting back on the road.
Yep.
But they haven't done that at all.
I think so.
They haven't. You know, the shows haven't been, you know, top notch. Oh my God, go out of your way and watch this now. Drop everything you're doing. But they've been solid shows. They don't drag. There's been noteworthy things on every episode that make you want to watch the next week. And that's all you ask. That's all I ask for as a fan.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why, and that's the reason why, regardless of whether I'm covering them with you or not, the only two shows I would still watch each week would be NXT and AEW, because they both give me that.
Yeah.
They both give me that reason. And yeah, so yeah, but next Saturday night, it's going to be, or Sunday for me, it's going to be a real good one.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be good. So they have that one next Saturday after the episode of NXT that we saw on Tuesday night. I am ready for the next week's episode as well. Another good week of wrestling. You
Yeah,
know,
man, we got Diamond Mine opening next week.
yeah, you got Diamond Mine. You got some big stuff on NXT. The Saturday Dynamite should be, at least they're prepping it up like it's going to be one of those special big time episodes of Dynamite. It's the last one.
We got Hangman and Powerhouse. We got
Hangman and Powerhouse. We got Omega and Jungle Boy. Was that?
Hangman and Hobbs will open the show.
That's what I'm thinking. That one opens, and then obviously the title closes.
Hangman normally opens.
Yeah. I believe there's a few other matches they booked for the one next Saturday too. They're not off the top of my brain, but those are the big two. Yeah, man, another solid week of wrestling, another enjoyable week discussing it with you. Next week we will be doing the 2 shows again. And then I think last one, yeah, because then it goes back to Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we should be just seeing one supersized War Report every week.
It'll be it'll still be live, but it'll be longer.
Yes, it will be. But yeah, man, anything to plug on your end as far as Love Wrestling or anything else?
If anyone wants to hear my incessant rambling some more, but in word form, my Twitter is there. That's 2 underscores, by the way.
2 underscores for the franchise there. You can find me on the Twitter machine right there as well. Joseph 1_ Poulin Jr. As always, thank you for joining. We will do one more time before we head out of here. We will talk about the Trevor Project and how this month Love Wrestling is raising money for the Trevor Project. Very good organization that helps with suicide awareness and all sorts of other things as well when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community. And that organization means a lot to a lot of us here at Love Wrestling. As you have seen, been strolling below us the whole episode. It is donate.tiltify.com/@LoveWrestlingCA/Trevor Project. Please donate if you can. Share the link out, raise awareness, whatever you can do. We will all here at Love Wrestling and the Trevor Project will be very, very appreciative.
Absolutely.
Matt, always a pleasure. I will see you this coming Thursday for our NXT review of the War Report. Be sure to check out the POS show later on today. I also believe we'll be having a Love Wrestling Reacts for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view this evening. Other than that, go to lovewrestling.ca. We got Spencer has a ton of good interviews. We got articles galore up there. We're popping. We're doing stuff every day here. Yeah, man. Love Wrestling's a fun place to be right now. And you said
so. Damn Canadians.
Yeah, we did bring up those Canadians multiple times today. Spencer's all right, though. I like Spencer. He's all right.
He goes all right.
Thank you all for watching us. Appreciate everybody in the comments. Josh Robinson, if you're still here, appreciate the raid, my friend.
Absolutely.
For Matt, I am JPJ. We will see you next week for the War Report. Thank you all for joining. Peace out.